The pack called her worthless, until the Alpha King's heir refused to leave her side. Chapter 1. The pack called Alara worthless. They had called her that for years. After enough time, the word became part of her life. Worthless Alara, worthless Omega, worthless orphan, worthless servant. The names followed her everywhere. Even now. Move faster! A bucket struck the ground beside her. Cold water splashed across her shoes. Alara lowered her eyes. Sorry. The cook snorted. Sorry doesn't finish work. Laughter filled the kitchen. Alara quietly picked up the bucket. Her hands already hurt. She had been working since before dawn. The harvest festival started tonight. Every noble family in the Mooncrest pack would attend. Which meant more work, more orders, more insults. She carried vegetables toward the storage room. As she passed, two young servants whispered, not quietly enough. I heard nobody invited her. Why would they? She's bad luck. The girls laughed. Alara kept walking. She had learned long ago not to respond. Responding only made things worse. The storage room door creaked open. She placed the basket inside. For a moment, silence surrounded her. Just silence. No insults. No laughter. No cruel stares. She closed her eyes and breathed. That was when she heard crying. A child. Very faint. Alara frowned. The sound came from outside, beyond the kitchen grounds. She stepped back into the sunlight. The crying came again, stronger this time. Without thinking, she followed it. Past the market stalls, past the festival decorations, past the training field. The sound led her toward a small wooded area near the river. Then she saw him, a little boy, perhaps 6 years old, curled beside a fallen tree. Crying, alone. Alara's heart tightened. She hurried forward. Hey! The boy startled. Bright silver eyes met hers. Alara froze. Everyone in the kingdom knew those eyes. Royal blood. The child of the Alpha King. Prince Rowan. The future heir. What are you doing here? She asked softly. The boy wiped his tears. My guards left. They lost you? I hid. Alara almost smiled. Almost. The prince looked miserable. His expensive clothes were covered in dirt. One knee was bleeding. You're hurt. It's nothing. It doesn't look like nothing. The boy stared at her suspiciously. Why are you being nice? The question hurt more than it should have. Alara knelt. Because you're hurt. The child blinked, as if kindness was something unusual. Slowly, she cleaned the scrape with water from her flask. The prince watched every movement. Does it hurt? A little. You'll survive. That finally earned a small smile. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then the boy tilted his head. You smell familiar. Alara stiffened. Many wolves said strange things about scents. She ignored it. We should get you home. His smile vanished. I don't want to. Why? The prince looked toward the distant palace. I hate it there. Alara stared. Children weren't supposed to say things like that, especially royal children. Before she could ask more, shouting echoed through the forest. Prince Rowan, search this way, the boy groaned. They found me. Several royal guards burst through the trees. Relief flooded their faces. Then they noticed Alara. Their expressions changed instantly. One guard stepped forward. What are you doing with the prince? The accusation was immediate, sharp, cruel. Alara slowly stood. I found him alone. The guard's eyes narrowed. You expect us to believe that? Prince Rowan suddenly moved. He stepped directly in front of Alara, protecting her. The guards froze. So do I. The child crossed his arms. I was lost. The lead guard looked horrified. Your Highness. And she helped me. No one spoke. The prince pointed at Alara. She stays. The guards exchanged confused looks. One carefully approached. Your Highness, we need to return. The boy shook his head. Not without her. Alara's eyes widened. What? The prince grabbed her hand. A simple gesture. Yet something strange happened. For a split second, a pulse of warmth rushed through her chest. So strong she nearly stumbled. The child felt it too. His silver eyes widened. The guards looked alarmed. Then the feeling vanished. Gone as quickly as it came. Nobody understood what had happened. Especially Alara. Prince Rowan tightened his grip. "She's coming. Your Highness." "That's an order." An hour later, Alara stood inside the royal palace, a place she had never been allowed to enter. Servants stared. Nobles whispered. Every eye followed her. The worthless Omega, walking beside the future king. It felt unreal. Then the throne room doors opened. Silence fell instantly. The Alpha King had arrived. King Cassian, the most feared wolf in the kingdom. Tall, powerful, cold. His presence alone made people lower their heads. Alara did the same. She expected him to be angry, expected punishment, expected humiliation. Instead, the king's attention locked onto her. The moment his eyes met hers, something changed, just for an instant. Shock flashed across his face. Pure shock. Then it disappeared. Hidden behind a mask of control. Alara's heart pounded. Why had he looked at her like that? The king slowly approached. The room held its breath. Prince Rowan smiled. "Father." The Alpha King's gaze never left Alara, and when he finally spoke, his voice sounded strangely tense. "What is your name?" Alara swallowed. "Alara." "Your Majesty." The king went pale, as if that name meant something. Something terrible. Something impossible. And before anyone could understand why, a silver locket hanging beneath his shirt suddenly slipped free. Alara stared, her breath caught. Because she owned an identical locket. Chapter 2. The room fell silent. No one seemed to notice the lockets except Alara and the Alpha King. Her heart hammered. The silver pendant hanging from his neck was identical to hers. Same shape, same engraving, same tiny crescent moon carved into the center. Impossible. Alara had owned her locket her entire life. The old woman who raised her had given it to her before she died. She never explained where it came from. Only one warning. Never lose it. Never show it to anyone. Now the Alpha King was staring at it. And he looked shaken. Very shaken. "Father?" Prince Rowan's voice broke the silence. King Cassian blinked. The strange expression vanished instantly. Years of control returned to his face. Take the prince to his chambers. The command was directed at the guards. But now. The guards obeyed immediately. Rowan frowned. His hand tightened around Alara's sleeve. "I don't want to go." "You will." The boy looked unhappy. Then he surprised everyone, including Alara. He hugged her. Quickly, without warning. The entire throne room gasped. The future heir never hugged strangers, especially not an Omega servant. Yet there he was, his small arms wrapped around her waist. "Don't leave." Alara froze. A strange ache filled her chest. "I have work. I'll find you tomorrow." His silver eyes were serious, as if making a promise. Then the guards gently pulled him away. Rowan kept looking back. Only when the doors closed did silence return. King Cassian dismissed everyone else. One order. The throne room emptied. Soon only the two of them remained. Alara suddenly felt nervous. Very nervous. The Alpha King stepped closer. "Who gave you that locket?" The question came immediately. No greeting. No explanation. Alara touched the pendant. "I don't know." His jaw tightened. "You don't know?" "The woman who raised me gave it to me." "What woman?" "Her name was Mara." The king frowned. The name clearly meant nothing to him. "Where is she now?" "Dead." A shadow crossed his face. "When did she die?" 5 years ago." Silence. Cassian looked frustrated. As though a trail had suddenly ended. Then his gaze returned to the locket. "May I see it?" Alara hesitated. The old warning echoed inside her head. Never show it to anyone. But this was the Alpha King. Refusing wasn't really an option. Slowly, she removed the chain. Cassian accepted it carefully. His hands were steady. His eyes were not. He turned the pendant over. Studied every mark. Every scratch. Then he opened it. Alara froze. "What are you doing?" The king looked up. You didn't know? Know what? The locket clicked open. Elara stared. Her breath stopped. It opened? All these years she had believed it was solid silver. A simple pendant. Nothing more. Yet inside was a hidden compartment. A tiny folded piece of paper. Cassian unfolded it carefully. His expression changed. Shock. Confusion. Disbelief. Elara stepped forward. What does it say? The king looked at her. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he folded the paper again. Nothing important. Elara instantly knew he was lying. The tension in his voice gave him away. Why hide it? What was written there? Before she could ask another question, someone burst through the doors. A woman. Beautiful. Elegant. Dressed in expensive blue silk. Lady Celine. The prince's mother. The king's former mate. Every pack member knew her. And everyone feared her temper. She stopped when she saw Elara. Disgust appeared immediately. What is she doing here? Cassian's face hardened. That is not your concern. Celine laughed coldly. A servant standing alone with the king is everyone's concern. Elara lowered her gaze. She already knew how this would go. It always did. Celine walked around her slowly, like examining something unpleasant. I remember you. Elara doubted that. Important people never remembered servants. Yet Celine smiled. You worked during the winter feast. Elara nodded carefully. Yes. The servant who dropped wine. Heat flooded Alara's cheeks. It had happened 3 years ago. One accident. One mistake. The entire pack still remembered. Celine looked satisfied. Pathetic. Cassian's eyes darkened. Enough. The word cracked through the room. Celine blinked. Apparently she hadn't expected the king to defend Elara. Neither had Elara. For a moment, something dangerous flickered in Celine's eyes. Jealousy. Then it vanished. Hidden behind a polite smile. Of course. She turned toward the king. The council meeting starts soon. Cassian nodded. Celine left. But before exiting, she glanced back, directly at Elara. The look made her skin crawl. It wasn't annoyance. It wasn't disgust. It was fear. As though seeing Elara frightened her. The doors closed. Cassian noticed it too. His expression became thoughtful, then distant. Finally, he handed back the locket. You should go. Elara accepted it. Questions filled her mind. Too many questions. What was written inside? The king looked away. You need not worry about it. Then why were you shocked? Silence. What does this locket mean? More silence. Frustration rose inside her. Nobody ever told her anything. People simply expected her to obey, to accept. To stay quiet, not today. Your Majesty, go home, Elara. The command ended the conversation. She knew it. Yet as she turned toward the doors, the king spoke again. His voice quieter this time, almost troubled. Be careful. Elara stopped. Careful of what? Cassian's expression darkened. As of today, people will notice you. A chill ran through her. Outside the palace, evening had fallen. Festival lights illuminated the village. Music drifted through the air. Everyone celebrated. Everyone except Elara. Whispers followed her immediately. They say she met the king. The prince held her hand. Why? No idea. She's hiding something. By the time she reached her cottage, rumors had already spread across the entire pack. Inside, she locked the door. The small home felt colder than usual. She sat beside the fireplace and opened the locket again. The hidden compartment was empty now. The paper remained with the king. Why? What had been written there? She stared into the flames, trying to think, trying to remember. Then a memory surfaced. A forgotten conversation from years ago. Mara's weak voice. A trembling hand touching her cheek. If they ever discover who you are. Elara sat upright, her pulse quickened. She had never remembered the rest before. Never. But now the words returned clearly. If they ever discover who you are, run. A sudden knock slammed against the front door. Once, twice, 3 times. Hard, urgent. Elara jumped to her feet. Nobody visited her cottage. Nobody. The knocking came again, louder this time. Then a familiar child's voice called from outside. Alara! Prince Rowan. Relief flooded her. She rushed toward the door, but before opening it, another voice reached her ears. A man's voice. Deep. Dangerous. Close behind the prince. The Alpha King himself. And judging by the growls surrounding the cottage, he hadn't come alone. Chapter 3. Ilara's hand froze on the door. Her pulse quickened. Why would the Alpha King come here? At night? And with warriors? Something was wrong. Very wrong. Ilara? Prince Rowan knocked again. It's me. She slowly opened the door. The prince immediately pushed inside. Relief flooded his face. You answered. Ilara blinked. Of course I answered. I thought maybe you left. The strange comment unsettled her. Before she could ask what he meant, King Cassian stepped through the doorway. The cottage suddenly felt much smaller. His warriors remained outside, guarding the area. Watching the darkness, watching the forest, watching for something, or someone. Cassian's eyes swept across the room, the worn furniture, the cracked walls, the nearly empty shelves. A muscle tightened in his jaw. You live here alone? Ilara nodded. Yes. The king looked unhappy. Not disgusted, angry, as though the sight offended him. Prince Rowan had already made himself comfortable. He sat at her small table. Like he belonged there. I like this place. Ilara almost smiled. Most people called it a shack. The prince called it a place. A normal place. That alone made her like him. Cassian remained near the door. Alert. Listening. Waiting. Finally she spoke. Why are you here? The king exchanged a glance with one of the warriors outside. Then he shut the door. We found something. Her stomach tightened. The paper? His silence confirmed it. What did it say? Cassian looked at Rowan. The prince immediately understood. With a dramatic sigh, he stood. You want privacy? Cassian raised an eyebrow. You're 6. I know what privacy means. The king almost smiled. Almost. One of the warriors escorted Rowan outside. The moment they were alone, the atmosphere changed. Heavy. Tense. Cassian removed a folded piece of paper. The one from her locket. He placed it on the table. Ilara stared at it. So tell me. The king's gaze locked onto hers. First, answer something. What? Has anyone ever explained where you came from? The question hurt, because the answer had always been no. No. Do you know your parents? No. Any relatives? No. His face darkened, as though each answer confirmed something he didn't want confirmed. Finally, he unfolded the paper. A short message appeared. Only one sentence. Ilara leaned closer. Then she read it. Protect the moonborn child. Everything inside her seemed to stop. She read it again and again. Moonborn child. What does that mean? Cassian's expression remained grim. I don't know. You don't know? Not exactly, the answer frustrated her. Everyone suddenly had secrets. Everyone suddenly knew more than she did. The king continued. The writing is old. How old? At least 18 years. Her age. The realization hit instantly. 18 years. The same age as the message. The same age as her. A cold feeling spread through her chest. You think it's about me? Cassian didn't answer. That was answer enough. A loud growl echoed outside. Both of them turned toward the window. Another growl followed. Closer. More aggressive. Cassian moved instantly. Warrior instincts taking over. What was that? He crossed to the door. Opened it. The night air rushed inside. Several warriors stood with weapons drawn, all facing the forest. Ilara stepped onto the porch. Fear twisted inside her. The woods were dark. Too dark. Then she saw movement. A shadow, watching them, far between the trees. One warrior lunged forward. Who's there? The shadow disappeared. Gone. As if it had never existed. The growling stopped. Silence returned. But nobody relaxed. Cassian looked furious. Track it. 3 warriors sprinted into the woods. Moments later, they vanished among the trees. Alara wrapped her arms around herself. Was that a rogue? No. The king's answer came immediately. Too immediately. He knew something. Again. Another secret. Another mystery. The remaining warriors secured the area. Prince Rowan returned to her side. His small face looked pale. Father? Cassian knelt beside him. What? The boy swallowed. I smelled them earlier. The king went completely still. You smelled what? The strangers. Alara noticed something unusual. Fear. Real fear. In the Alpha King's eyes. When? This morning. Cassian stood abruptly. His gaze swept across the dark forest. The warriors looked alarmed. One stepped forward. Your Majesty? The king's voice turned cold. Double the guards. The warrior hesitated. Do you think it's them? Them. Again. A group. An enemy. Someone everyone seemed to know about except her. Cassian nodded once. The warrior immediately left. Alara stepped forward. I'm tired of being confused. The king looked at her. Then tell me what's happening. Silence. Several long seconds passed. Finally Cassian exhaled. You deserve some answers. Her heart pounded. At last. The night you were born. A scream interrupted him. Everyone froze. It came from the village. A woman. Terrified. Another scream followed. Then another. The entire valley erupted into chaos. Warriors immediately shifted into wolves. Growls exploded through the darkness. Prince Rowan grabbed Alara's hand. What happened? Cassian's face became stone. He looked toward the village, toward the fires suddenly lighting the night, and then he whispered a single word. Impossible. The village bell began ringing. The emergency bell. Again, again, again. Danger. Attack. War. One wounded warrior burst from the darkness. Blood covered his clothes. His breathing was ragged. Your Majesty! Cassian caught him before he collapsed. What happened? The warrior's face was white. His eyes filled with terror. The eastern gate. What about it? The man struggled to speak, then finally forced out the words. They're here. A deadly silence followed. Cassian's grip tightened. Who? The wounded warrior looked directly at Alara and pointed at her. They came for her. The world seemed to stop. Every face turned toward Alara. Every eye. Every breath. Every heartbeat. Then the warrior spoke the words that shattered everything she thought she knew. The Moonborn have returned. Chapter 4. The Moonborn have returned. The words echoed through the night. Alara stared at the wounded warrior. What does that mean? No one answered. Not immediately. The emergency bells continued ringing across the valley. Warriors rushed toward the village. Wolves howled. Children cried. The peaceful festival had become chaos. Prince Rowan tightened his grip on her hand. Father? Cassian's face had gone pale. Not with fear. With recognition, as though a nightmare he thought was buried had suddenly returned. The wounded warrior collapsed. 2 guards carried him away. The Alpha King turned toward Alara. His decision came instantly. You stay with me. What? It's not safe. Before she could argue, a horn sounded from the village. One long blast, then another. Cassian's expression hardened. Inside, now. Everyone entered the cottage. The king closed the door himself. Several warriors took positions outside. Prince Rowan sat beside Alara, close enough that their shoulders touched. The boy looked nervous, but he wasn't looking at the danger outside. He was looking at her, studying her face, as if searching for something. Finally, he spoke. You're scared. Alara managed a weak smile. A little. A lot. She couldn't deny that. The prince leaned closer. My father is scary. That earned the first laugh she had all night. A small one, but real. That's not comforting. It is if he's protecting you. Her smile faded, because Rowan believed it, completely. The child trusted his father, trusted him to keep everyone safe. But Alara wasn't sure she trusted anyone anymore. Not when everyone seemed to know secrets about her. Not when strangers were apparently hunting her. Not when a hidden message had been locked inside her necklace for 18 years. Cassian stood near the window, watching, waiting, listening. Finally, Alara lost patience. No more secrets. The king didn't turn around. You need rest. I need answers. Silence. I deserve answers. At that, Cassian looked back. Their eyes met. For the first time, she saw exhaustion there. Old exhaustion, the kind carried for years, not days, not months. Years. You do. Then tell me. The king slowly crossed the room. Then he sat opposite her. Prince Rowan immediately climbed into his lap. The action seemed automatic, comforting, familiar. Cassian wrapped one arm around his son and began speaking. 18 years ago, there was another pack. Alara listened carefully. A powerful pack? The most powerful. His voice became distant. Their territory stretched beyond the northern mountains. What happened to them? Cassian's jaw tightened. They vanished. Vanished? Overnight. She frowned. Entire packs didn't simply vanish. There were thousands of wolves. Exactly. A chill ran down her spine. Cassian continued. No bodies. No survivors. No explanation. Nothing. Nothing. The wind rattled the windows. For some reason, the sound made the story feel even darker. Their name was Moonborn. Alara froze. The same word. Moonborn. The message. The attackers. Everything connected somehow. The Moonborn child. Cassian nodded. Yes. Then the message was talking about one of them. Possibly. Possibly. Another frustrating answer. The king leaned forward. Before they disappeared, strange rumors spread. What kind of rumors? His eyes darkened. That the Moonborn bloodline carried something special. Alara's pulse quickened. What? No one knew. That's not an answer. It's the truth. Cassian sounded irritated. Not at her. At the mystery itself. The rumors changed constantly. Give me examples. He hesitated, then sighed. Some claimed Moonborn wolves could heal impossible wounds. Alara blinked. Others claimed they could sense danger before it happened. Prince Rowan suddenly looked up. And some said they talked to the moon. The king rubbed his son's hair. Those stories were probably nonsense. Probably. Not definitely. Alara noticed. The prince noticed too. The boy smiled slightly. Apparently he had inherited his father's ability to notice things. A loud knock interrupted them. Everyone tensed. Warriors immediately moved. Weapons drawn. One guard opened the door slightly, then relaxed. It's Commander Darius. A large warrior entered. His expression was grim. We searched the eastern gate. Cassian stood. And? No bodies. The king frowned. No attackers? None. Tracks? None. A heavy silence followed. The commander looked troubled. Very troubled. As if they were never there. Alara's stomach sank. The exact same thing had happened to the Moonborn pack. Gone without a trace. The similarity couldn't be coincidence. Cassian clearly thought so too. What about witnesses? Darius nodded. Several. And? The warrior hesitated. That hesitation frightened Alara more than anything else. What did they see? The commander swallowed. Wolves. How many? Nobody agrees. Cassian's eyes narrowed. Explain. Some claim there were 5. Others? 50. The cottage became silent. Even Prince Rowan stopped moving. Darius continued. One witness swears there was only one. One wolf. One wolf causing panic across an entire village? Impossible. Unless... What color? The question left Alara's mouth before she realized it. Darius looked surprised, then answered. White. The room froze. Every person inside. Every single one. Even the fire seemed quieter. Alara didn't understand why. But she understood one thing. White wolves meant something. Something important. Something dangerous. Prince Rowan slowly turned toward her. His silver eyes looked enormous. Your eyes. Alara blinked. What? The boy pointed. They changed. Her heart skipped. Cassian moved instantly. A mirror hung on the opposite wall. He grabbed it. then handed it to her. Alara stared into the reflection and nearly dropped it. Her eyes, usually gray, now glowing pale silver, the exact same color as Prince Rowan's. No, not exactly. Brighter, older somehow, ancient. The glow lasted only a second, then vanished, leaving her normal eyes behind. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Finally, Commander Darius whispered the question everyone was thinking. "Your Majesty." His voice trembled. Could she be one of them? Cassian looked directly at Alara. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he revealed the first real truth. The first truth nobody could hide anymore. "I think she is." Alara's breath caught. The king's next words hit even harder. "And if I'm right," his voice lowered, "someone has spent 18 years making sure she never discovered it." The fire suddenly flared. A burst of sparks shot upward, and hidden beneath the flames, something metallic reflected the light. Alara's eyes widened. There was something under the fireplace, something buried, something hidden inside her own cottage, and judging by the look on Cassian's face, he knew exactly what it was. Chapter 5. Everyone saw it. The brief flash beneath the fire. A piece of metal, hidden under the stones of the fireplace. Buried where no one would notice. For years, Alara slowly stood. Her heart was racing. "What is that?" No one answered, not even Cassian, which told her everything. He didn't know, not for certain. The Alpha King moved first. He knelt beside the fireplace, carefully, slowly. The room watched in silence. Prince Rowan slipped off the chair and hurried closer. "Can I help?" "No." The answer came instantly. The boy sighed dramatically. "You always say that. Because you always make things worse." Rowan grinned. That grin disappeared when Cassian removed the first stone, then the second, then the third. A hidden compartment appeared beneath the hearth. Alara's stomach tightened. She had lived here her entire life, and never knew it existed. Inside lay a small iron box, old, dust-covered, locked. Commander Darius stepped forward. "Should I open it?" Cassian shook his head. "No." His gaze shifted to Alara. "You do it." "Why me?" The king's expression remained serious. "Because I think it belongs to you." The words sent a chill through her. "Belongs to you." Slowly, she approached. Every eye followed her. The box looked ancient, older than the cottage itself, older than anything she owned. Alara knelt. Her fingers touched the metal. The moment she did, something strange happened. A sharp warmth shot through her hand. The lock clicked open, by itself. Several people gasped. Prince Rowan's eyes widened. "I didn't touch it, neither had she. Yet the lock had opened, as if recognizing her, as if waiting for her. For 18 years. Silence filled the room. Then Alara slowly lifted the lid. Inside were only two things: a folded letter, and a silver ring, nothing else. The ring immediately caught her attention. A crescent moon was engraved into its surface. The exact same symbol from her locket. The same symbol that appeared everywhere now. As if her entire life had been surrounded by clues she never noticed. Cassian picked up the ring. The moment he saw it, his face changed. Shock. Pure shock. "What is it?" His voice sounded distant. "I know this ring." Alara's pulse quickened. "You do?" The king nodded slowly. Commander Darius looked confused. "I don't." Cassian stared at the symbol. "I saw it once." "Where?" The Alpha King's eyes darkened. "The night the Moonborn disappeared." The room went silent. Every heartbeat seemed louder. Even the wind outside stopped mattering. Alara swallowed. What happened that night? For a moment, Cassian didn't answer. Then he looked at her. And for the first time, she saw guilt. Real guilt. Heavy guilt. The kind a person carries for years. 18 years ago, I was a young warrior. His voice had become quieter. I was sent north. To the Moonborn lands? Yes. Alara listened carefully. Every word mattered now. When we arrived, The pack was already gone. No bodies? No. No survivors? None. The same answer again. But this time, there was more. Cassian looked at the ring, then at her. There was only one thing left behind. Alara's breath caught. What? A cradle. The room became very still. A baby's cradle. Her heart slammed against her ribs. The king continued. It was empty. Nobody spoke. Nobody dared. The only thing inside was a blanket. His grip tightened around the ring. And this symbol. The crescent moon? The same symbol. Every clue pointed in the same direction. Every path led back to one answer. One terrifying possibility. Alara looked down. Her hands were shaking. No. The word escaped before she could stop it. Cassian didn't argue, didn't push, didn't force the truth. But his eyes told her everything. He believed it. He believed she was connected to that missing child. Connected to the vanished pack. Connected to the mystery that had haunted the kingdom for 18 years. Prince Rowan suddenly grabbed her hand. The movement startled everyone. Including her. His voice was soft. It's okay. Alara looked at him. The boy smiled. A small smile. A brave smile. The kind children give when they're trying to help. Even when they're scared too. For some reason, that almost made her cry. Before she could speak, Commander Darius unfolded the letter. Wait. Cassian reached for it. Too late. Darius was already reading, his face drained of color. What? The commander looked horrified. Darius? The warrior slowly lowered the paper. His eyes moved toward Alara, then toward Prince Rowan. Then back toward the king. What does it say? Alara demanded. Nobody answered. Darius? The command cracked through the room. The warrior swallowed. Then read aloud. If this letter is found. The room held its breath. Then the child survived. Alara felt dizzy. The commander continued. The moonborn bloodline must remain hidden. Cassian looked furious. As if he already knew where this was going. Darius read the next line. And the next. Each word making the room colder. More dangerous. More impossible. Finally, he reached the last sentence. His voice nearly failed. The child must never be brought before the Alpha King. Silence. Absolute silence. Alara stared. The words echoed in her mind. Never be brought before the Alpha King. Her eyes slowly lifted. Toward Cassian. The same realization appeared on his face. The same question. Why? Why would someone write that? Why hide her from him specifically? Why protect her from meeting the Alpha King? Commander Darius looked deeply uncomfortable. Prince Rowan looked confused. Only Cassian seemed to understand something. Something terrible. The king suddenly turned away. Too quickly. As if hiding his reaction. But Alara had already seen it. Fear. Not fear for himself. Fear for her. Before she could demand answers, a howl echoed through the valley. Not a normal howl. Not a wolf call. A warning. Every warrior in the cottage froze. Commander Darius rushed to the window. His face immediately hardened. What is it? The commander looked back. They found the trackers. Cassian stepped forward. Alive? Darius hesitated. The answer came from his silence. The king's jaw tightened. How many? All 3. Alara felt hope for a second. Then the commander finished speaking. Dead. The hope vanished. Prince Rowan's grip tightened around her hand. The room had suddenly become colder, more dangerous. Darius continued. There was a message. Cassian's eyes narrowed. What message? The commander's face was pale as Alara had ever seen. He looked directly at her, then repeated the words carved into a tree beside the bodies. A message clearly meant for her. A message written by whoever had returned after 18 years. The last moonborn belongs to us. The fire exploded with sparks, and somewhere deep in the forest beyond the village, a single white wolf howled back. Chapter 6. The howl seemed to shake the entire valley. Long, lonely, dangerous. Every wolf inside the cottage heard it. Every wolf understood it. The white wolf was close, Very close. Commander Darius immediately moved toward the door. We need to relocate. Cassian nodded. Prepare the palace. The commander left at once. Warriors rushed through the darkness outside. Orders echoed across the village. The entire pack was preparing for something. For war. For an attack. For a threat nobody fully understood. Elara remained frozen beside the fireplace. The words wouldn't leave her mind. The last Moonborn belongs to us. She didn't even know what being Moonborn meant. Yet strangers were willing to kill for it. Kill warriors. Invade villages. Leave messages written in blood. Fear twisted inside her. Not only for herself, for everyone around her. Especially the little boy standing beside her. Prince Rowan looked up. You look sad. Elara forced a smile. I'm fine. The prince immediately shook his head. No. Children always notice the truth. Sometimes faster than adults. The boy stepped closer. Then wrapped his arms around her waist. Again, just as he had before. A simple gesture, yet warmth spread through her chest instantly. A strange warmth. Comforting. Protective. Safe. For a brief moment, all her fear faded. Then, something strange happened. The room became silent. Too silent. Elara looked up. Every wolf was staring at them. Cassian, the guards, everyone. What? Nobody answered. Prince Rowan looked confused too. Then, Elara noticed it. A faint silver glow. The same glow from her eyes earlier, except this time it surrounded both of them. Like moonlight. Soft. Beautiful. Impossible. The glow vanished seconds later, but the damage was done. Everyone had seen it. Prince Rowan blinked. Did I do that? Cassian looked troubled. Very troubled. I don't know. For the first time, uncertainty appeared in the Alpha King's voice. That frightened Elara more than the glow itself. Because powerful men rarely feared things they understood. The palace was already awake when they arrived. Servants rushed through hallways. Warriors guarded every entrance. The atmosphere felt tense. Like a storm waiting to break. Elara had never spent a night inside the palace before. Now she was surrounded by guards. Protected. Watched. Perhaps both. A servant escorted her to a guest room. Small. Comfortable. Far nicer than her cottage. Yet she couldn't relax. Too many questions remained unanswered. A knock came shortly after midnight. Elara opened the door. Cassian stood outside. Alone. No guards. No warriors. No crown. For the first time, he looked less like a king, and more like a tired man. May I come in? The question surprised her. Kings didn't usually ask permission. Still, she nodded. Cassian entered, then closed the door behind him. Silence filled the room. Neither knew where to begin. Finally, Elara spoke. You know something. The king looked away. Yes. I've noticed. A faint smile touched his face. Gone a second later, Elara crossed her arms. Then tell me. Cassian walked toward the window. Moonlight illuminated his features, making him look older somehow. More worn. After a long pause, he finally spoke. The letter. The one warning people to keep me away from you? Yes. Elara's heart tightened. What about it? The king exhaled slowly. There is only one person who could have written it. Her pulse quickened. Who? Cassian's eyes met hers. Someone I once loved. The answer hit her unexpectedly. For a moment, she forgot everything else. The attacks. The mystery. The Moonborn. Everything. Someone you loved? The king nodded. A shadow crossed his face. Pain. Old pain. Deep pain. Elara suddenly understood. Whoever this woman was, she mattered. Still mattered. What happened to her? Cassian looked out the window. Toward the moon. Toward the distant mountains. Toward old memories. I lost her. The simplicity of the answer somehow made it worse. Elara swallowed. Did she die? Silence. Then, I don't know. The words stunned her. You don't know? No. Cassian's voice hardened. 18 years ago, she disappeared. The number hit her immediately. 18 years. Again. Everything connected to that same year, that same night, that same mystery. Her heartbeat quickened. Who was she? The king hesitated, then answered. A moonborn. The room seemed to tilt. Alara stared at him. The pieces were starting to connect. Too quickly, too dangerously. The woman he loved, the missing pack, the hidden child. The warning letter, the timing, all of it. Cassian saw the realization forming in her eyes. Immediately he shook his head. No. No? No what? You think I'm suggesting something, aren't you? The king remained silent, which was answer enough. Neither wanted to say it aloud, because saying it made it real. Suddenly, another knock interrupted them. Hard, urgent. Cassian opened the door instantly. Commander Darius stood outside, breathing heavily. Something was wrong. Very wrong. What happened? The commander looked shaken. I received a report from the northern border. Cassian's face darkened. Speak. Darius swallowed. We found survivors. The room froze. Survivors. After 18 years. Survivors. Impossible. Cassian took one step forward. How many? 3. Moonborn? The commander nodded. Alara's heart nearly stopped. 3 survivors. Real survivors. People who could know the truth. People who could explain everything. People who might know who she was. Cassian immediately grabbed his cloak. We leave before dawn. Darius hesitated. The hesitation was brief, but noticeable. The king saw it too. What? The commander's face turned pale. There is another problem. Cassian's voice became ice. What problem? Darius looked directly at Alara, then delivered the news. The survivors aren't asking for protection. A cold feeling spread through the room. They aren't? No. Cassian's eyes narrowed. What are they asking for? The commander swallowed. They gave a message. The room fell silent. Every heartbeat seemed louder. Darius finally spoke, word for word, exactly as it had been delivered. We have found the moonborn daughter. Alara's breath caught. The commander continued. Tell her the truth. Cassian went completely still. Darius finished the message. And tell her. His voice dropped. Her mother is still alive. The world stopped. Everything. Every thought. Every breath. Every heartbeat. Alara stared at him, unable to move, unable to speak, unable to think, because only one question remained. If her mother was alive, why had she never come back for her? Chapter 7. Her mother is still alive. The words followed Alara through the rest of the night. She barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, new questions appeared. Why had her mother left? Why had she hidden her? Why had she never returned? And most importantly, why was everyone suddenly finding her now? Before sunrise, the palace was already moving. Warriors prepared horses. Supplies were loaded. Messengers raced between buildings. The journey north would begin within the hour. Alara stood on a balcony overlooking the courtyard. The morning air felt cold against her skin. She barely noticed. Her thoughts were elsewhere. A soft voice interrupted them. You're leaving. Prince Rowan. The boy stood beside her, holding a small wooden wolf, his favorite toy. Alara smiled sadly. Looks like it. The prince stared at the ground. For once, he wasn't smiling. Will you come back? The question hurt, because she honestly didn't know. I'll try. Rowan shook his head. That's not the same. No, it wasn't. The boy suddenly pressed something into her hand. A tiny carved wolf. Made from silver wood. She blinked. What's this? My lucky wolf. Alara looked surprised. You want me to keep it? The prince nodded. Until you come back. Emotion tightened her throat. Nobody had ever given her a lucky charm before. Nobody had ever worried about her leaving. Slowly, she closed her fingers around the carving. Thank you. The boy smiled. Then, without warning, he hugged her. One final time. Neither noticed the woman watching from the shadows. Lady Celine, the prince's mother. Her eyes followed every movement, every smile, every moment. and the hatred on her face had never been stronger. Hours later, the northern journey began. Cassian led the group. Commander Darius rode beside him. 20 elite warriors followed. Elara traveled in the center, protected from every side. The road north crossed forests, rivers, mountains. As the day passed, tension grew. No one relaxed. Not even for a moment. By sunset, they reached the borderlands. The land looked different here. Wild, untouched, ancient, as if time itself moved slower. A strange feeling settled over Elara. A feeling she couldn't explain. The further north they traveled, the more familiar everything seemed. She had never been here before, yet somehow it felt like home. The realization frightened her. Cassian noticed. "You feel it?" It wasn't a question. Elara nodded slowly. "Why?" The king looked toward the distant mountains. "I was hoping you could tell me." They continued until darkness fell. Finally, the group stopped near a clearing. Warriors established camp. Fires were lit. Guards took positions. Elara sat quietly beside the flames, watching sparks rise into the night. Someone approached. Commander Darius. The large warrior sat across from her, awkwardly, as if he wasn't sure how to begin. Finally, he spoke. "I owe you an apology." Elara blinked. "For what?" The commander looked embarrassed. "When we first met, I assumed the worst." A faint smile touched her lips. "You're not the only one." The warrior laughed quietly. Then his expression became serious. "For what it's worth?" He hesitated. "I don't think you're dangerous." The comment surprised her. "You thought I was?" Darius rubbed the back of his neck. "At first." "Why?" The commander looked uncomfortable. "Because powerful people attract trouble." The answer was honest. Brutally honest. Elara respected that. Before she could respond, one of the scouts ran into camp, breathing hard. Everyone immediately stood. "What happened?" The scout pointed toward the forest. "We found them." Cassian was already moving. "The survivors?" The scout nodded. They agreed to meet. Hope surged through Elara. At last. Answers. Real answers. Within minutes, the group followed the scout deeper into the woods. Moonlight illuminated the path. Ancient trees surrounded them. The air felt strangely still, almost sacred. Finally, they entered another clearing. 3 figures waited beside a fire. 2 men. 1 woman. All elderly. All watching silently. The moment Elara stepped into the clearing, the woman began crying. No warning, no hesitation. Tears simply spilled down her face. The sight shocked everyone, especially Elara. The old woman slowly approached, her hands trembling, her eyes full of emotion. Then she whispered 2 words. "My princess." Elara froze. The entire world seemed to disappear. "My... what?" The woman laughed through tears. "My princess." Cassian looked stunned. Commander Darius looked stunned. Even the warriors exchanged confused glances. "Princess?" The old woman reached into her cloak, then removed a faded portrait. Carefully, almost reverently, she handed it to Elara. Elara looked down and stopped breathing. The woman in the portrait looked exactly like her. Same eyes, same face, same hair, just older, beautiful, strong, royal. Her mother. There could be no doubt. The old woman smiled sadly. Queen Lyra. The name echoed through the clearing. Queen. Not Luna. Queen. Alara's hands shook. "My mother was a queen?" The old woman nodded. "The last queen of the Moonborn." Shock rippled through the group. Cassian looked like he had been struck. Yet before anyone could speak further, a howl erupted from the darkness. Close. Far too close. The elderly survivors instantly panicked. No. Fear filled the woman's eyes. Not ordinary fear. Pure terror. Cassian stepped forward. "What is it?" The old woman backed away. Her voice trembled. "They found us." Warriors immediately drew weapons. The forest became silent. Dead silent. Then dozens of glowing eyes appeared between the trees. 1 pair. Then 10. Then 20. Then 50. Surrounding the clearing. Every direction, every escape route, gone. Commander Darius cursed. We're trapped. The old woman looked directly at Alara and whispered something that turned her blood cold. They didn't come for you. Alara's heart stopped. What? The woman pointed toward Cassian, toward the Alpha King. Then she revealed the betrayal nobody saw coming. They came for your father. The world seemed to shatter. Father. Not mother. Father. Alara slowly turned toward Cassian. And for the first time since meeting him, the Alpha King couldn't meet her eyes. Chapter 8. The clearing became silent. Not because of the wolves surrounding them, not because of the danger, because of one word. Father. Alara stared at Cassian. The Alpha King stared at the ground. That alone told her enough. If it were a lie, he would deny it. Immediately, without hesitation. But he didn't. Her chest tightened. Every memory flashed through her mind. The way he had reacted to her name. The locket. The hidden letter. The fear. The guilt. The protection. All of it suddenly made sense. No. The word escaped her lips. Cassian finally looked up. Pain filled his eyes. Real pain. The kind that couldn't be faked. Alara? No. She stepped backward. The portrait shook in her hands. You knew. The king said nothing. You knew. His silence became confirmation. The truth crashed into her like a wave. For 18 years she had wondered who her parents were. For 18 years she had been alone, hungry, mocked, forgotten, and her father had been alive the entire time. A king. A king. Something inside her broke. You knew, her voice cracked. This time Cassian answered. Not for certain. The words only made it worse. Not for certain? His jaw tightened. I had suspicions. Suspicions? The clearing echoed with her voice. Several warriors lowered their eyes. Nobody wanted to witness this, yet nobody could look away. Alara felt tears forming. Angry tears. Painful tears. The worst kind. You let me live alone. Alara. You let them call me worthless. The king flinched. The reaction surprised everyone, even her. The feared Alpha King, flinching, because of her words. You were safe. The explanation sounded weak, even to him. Alara laughed bitterly. Safe? Memories flooded back. Cold winters, empty cupboards, cruel insults, lonely nights. She pointed at herself. Does this look safe? Cassian had no answer. None. The silence between them became unbearable. Then a growl erupted from the darkness. Deep. Threatening. The wolves had not left. The danger remained. Commander Darius stepped forward. We need to move. Nobody listened. The old Moonborn woman spoke instead. We don't have time. Cassian turned. What do you mean? Fear filled her eyes. The White Fang found her. The king's expression darkened. The White Fang? Alara immediately noticed the name. Another secret. Another enemy. Who are they? This time, the old woman answered. A cult. The word sent chills through the clearing. A cult. Obsessed with Moonborn blood. The elderly survivor beside her continued. They believe Moonborn wolves possess gifts. Healing. Vision. Power. The rumors. The same rumors Cassian had mentioned, but now they sounded far more dangerous. The old woman nodded. For 18 years they searched for the lost child. Alara's stomach sank. Me? Yes. The answer came immediately. The second old survivor spoke. They wanted to control you. The third survivor added quietly. Or kill you. A cold silence followed. Alara wrapped her arms around herself. The wolves watching from the darkness suddenly felt much closer, much more real. Then something unexpected happened. The old Moonborn woman knelt before her. Everyone froze. My queen. Alara stepped back. No. The woman lowered her head. You are the last heir. I don't want a throne. The old woman's eyes filled with sadness. That doesn't matter. The answer frightened Alara. Because it sounded true. Some responsibilities didn't care what people wanted. Cassian stepped forward. Enough. The command echoed through the clearing. Everyone looked at him. The king's face had changed. The guilt remained. The regret remained. But something else had appeared. Determination. I failed once. His gaze settled on Alara. The words were meant for her. Only her. I won't fail again. Before anyone could respond, a howl shattered the night. This time, much closer. The surrounding wolves emerged from the trees. One after another. Dozens, perhaps hundreds. Their eyes glowed beneath the moonlight. Warriors immediately formed a protective circle. Weapons drawn. Commander Darius cursed. There are too many. The White Fang had arrived. At their center stood a massive white wolf, larger than any wolf Alara had ever seen. Its fur shimmered beneath the moon. Its eyes glowed silver. Ancient, intelligent, terrifying. The wolf stepped forward. The other wolves immediately parted, making room, showing respect. The creature slowly transformed. Gasps echoed through the clearing. A man now stood where the wolf had been. Tall, powerful, dressed in white. A crescent moon symbol marked his chest. The same symbol from her locket. The same symbol from the ring. The same symbol everywhere. The stranger smiled. And somehow that smile felt more dangerous than any growl. At first he looked at Cassian, then at the moonborn survivors. Finally, his gaze settled on Alara. His smile widened. At last. The man sounded genuinely pleased, as though meeting an old friend. Even though they had never met. Alara's instincts screamed. Danger! Run! Hide! Anything. The stranger bowed slightly. My queen. The title again. She hated it. Stop calling me that. The man's smile never faded. You don't know who you are. The certainty in his voice unsettled her. Cassian stepped in front of her immediately. Protective. Instantly. The stranger noticed. Amusement appeared in his eyes. You finally recognize your daughter. The words hit their mark. Cassian's expression hardened. The stranger laughed softly. A little late. Don't you think? Several warriors growled. The man ignored them. His attention remained on Alara. Come with me. The request sounded simple, reasonable, almost kind, which somehow made it worse. No. The answer came instantly. The stranger sighed. I hoped you would choose willingly. Something dangerous entered his voice. Then he looked toward the sky, toward the moon, almost reverently. When your mother refused? Alara froze. The world stopped. Her mother. You know my mother? The stranger smiled. A slow smile, a terrifying smile. Better than anyone. Fear exploded inside her. The man continued. I was there the night she disappeared. Cassian moved immediately. Pure rage erupted from him. What did you do? The stranger laughed. A cold laugh. An ugly laugh. Then he revealed the truth. The truth that changed everything. I didn't take her. Silence. The stranger's eyes locked onto Cassian. You did. The clearing froze. Every warrior, every survivor, every breath, every heartbeat. The stranger pointed directly at the Alpha King, then spoke the words that shattered the world around them. Ask him what happened the night Queen Lyra vanished. Cassian went completely pale, and for the first time, the Alpha King looked afraid. Chapter 9. The night seemed to stop breathing. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The accusation hung in the air like a blade. Ask him what happened the night Queen Lyra vanished. Alara slowly turned toward Cassian. The Alpha King's face had lost all color. For the first time since she met him, he looked vulnerable, not powerful, not untouchable. Just a man carrying an old wound. The white-haired stranger watched with satisfaction, as if he had been waiting years for this moment. Tell her. His voice was calm, cruel, patient. Cassian's fists clenched. You know nothing. The stranger laughed. I know everything. The wolves surrounding the clearing growled. The tension became unbearable. Alara stepped forward. Her voice shook. What happened? Cassian didn't answer. Tell me. Silence. Pain flashed across his face. Then guilt. Then regret. Finally, he closed his eyes. and surrendered to the truth. 18 years ago. His voice sounded rough, broken. I loved Lyra. Nobody spoke. The Moonborn survivors lowered their heads. They already knew. Cassian continued. She wasn't just my mate. A sad smile appeared briefly. She was my best friend. The confession made the clearing feel strangely quiet. As if everyone suddenly understood the depth of the loss. We kept our relationship secret. Why? Alara asked. The kingdom. His answer came instantly. Many feared the Moonborn. The old survivor nodded. They feared our bloodline. Cassian looked at Alara. We planned to leave, she blinked. Leave? Together. The revelation shocked everyone. Even Commander Darius. Cassian continued. We were going to disappear. His eyes filled with old memories. We wanted a peaceful life. No throne, no politics, no war, just life. The simplicity of it somehow made it tragic. Then his expression darkened. 3 days before we left, his voice became colder. Someone betrayed us. The white-haired stranger smiled, as though hearing a familiar story. Cassian ignored him. They attacked the Moonborn settlement. Gasps echoed through the clearing. The survivors looked devastated. Even now, even after 18 years, the pain remained. I arrived too late. The king's voice cracked. The tiny break in his controls stunned everyone. Cassian rarely showed emotion. Now he looked shattered. The village was burning. Alara felt her heart breaking. Lyra? The king swallowed. I couldn't find her. Silence. Only the wind moved through the trees. I searched for weeks, months, years. He didn't need to say it. Everyone understood. The grief was written across his face. Then the white-haired stranger clapped slowly, mockingly. Beautiful story. Cassian's eyes became ice. Enough. The stranger shook his head. No. His smile disappeared. At last. And something darker appeared beneath it. Hatred. Ancient hatred. You left out the important part. The clearing became silent again. Cassian didn't move. The stranger pointed toward Alara. Tell her why Lyra was alone that night. Alara's pulse quickened. What? Cassian's face tightened. The stranger laughed bitterly. You promised to meet her. The Alpha King looked away. You promised to run away together. No one spoke. The stranger continued. But you never came. The accusation landed heavily. Alara stared at Cassian. The king remained silent. The silence itself felt like an answer. Why? She whispered. Cassian finally spoke. Because I was ambushed. The stranger scoffed. A convenient excuse. It's the truth. The two men glared at each other. Years of hatred passing silently between them. Then the stranger turned toward Alara. Do you know who I am? She shook her head. The man smiled sadly. For the first time, there was no cruelty in it. Only pain. My name is Ronan, the old survivors gasped. Even Cassian looked surprised. Alara noticed immediately. The name mattered. A lot. Ronan looked toward the moon, then back at her. I was your mother's brother. The world stopped. Her uncle. The man standing before her. The enemy. The leader of the White Fang. Her uncle. Shock spread across every face. Even the wolves seemed quieter. Ronan nodded slowly. I searched for you for 18 years. Alara didn't know what to say. Didn't know what to feel. Nothing made sense anymore. My mother's brother? Yes. The answer came gently. Not threatening, not angry, just sad. The contrast made everything worse. Ronan looked directly at Cassian. I watched my people die. The old pain in his voice was impossible to miss. I watched my sister disappear. His eyes darkened. I buried children. Silence. I buried friends. The wolves behind him lowered their heads, as if remembering, as if mourning. And for 18 years, Ronan's gaze settled on Cassian. I blamed him. No one spoke. No one could. The grief was too real, too heavy. Then, Alara asked the question that mattered most. My mother. Both men looked at her. Where is she? Silence. The answer didn't come. Not from Ronan. Not from Cassian. The silence terrified her. Tell me. Ronan looked away. Cassian lowered his head. Fear flooded her chest. No. The word escaped before she could stop it. No. Because she suddenly understood. If her mother were alive, they would have answered. Immediately. The silence meant something else. Something horrible. Then a voice interrupted. A familiar voice. Weak. Shaking. Old. The elderly moonborn woman stepped forward. Tears streamed down her face. No! Everyone turned toward her. The woman looked directly at Alara and smiled sadly. Your mother is alive. Hope exploded inside Alara. Alive, alive, alive. Then why? The old woman continued. But not in the way you think. Confusion replaced hope. What does that mean? The woman hesitated. Her hands trembled. Finally, she answered. And the truth she revealed changed everything. Queen Lyra isn't missing. The clearing fell silent. Every eye focused on her. The woman pointed north, toward the mountains, toward lands beyond maps, toward secrets buried for 18 years. Then she whispered, she's imprisoned. A cold wind swept through the clearing. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The old woman continued, she has been held captive for 18 years. Alara felt sick. Her mother, alive, alone, trapped. For 18 years. But the next words were even worse. Much worse. Because the old woman wasn't finished. The people holding her. Her voice broke. Terror filled her eyes. Then she looked directly at Ronan, the White Fang leader, Alara's uncle, and spoke the truth. They aren't the White Fang. Ronan froze. Everyone froze. The old woman pointed deeper into the northern darkness, toward a threat none of them had seen coming. Then, she whispered the name, the Moon King. The moment those words left her lips, every wolf in the clearing dropped to one knee, including Ronan. Chapter 10. The clearing fell silent. Every wolf knelt, even Ronan, even the warriors who hated him, even the moonborn survivors. Only Alara remained standing, confused, shaken, terrified. The Moon King? Her voice barely rose above a whisper. Nobody answered immediately. Because nobody wanted to. The fear in their faces said enough. Finally, Cassian spoke. He's a legend. Ronan shook his head. No. His expression was grim. That's what we hoped. A chill swept through the clearing. The old moonborn woman stepped forward. The Moon King ruled before the great packs existed. Alara listened carefully. He believed certain bloodlines carried the power of the moon. Her stomach tightened. The Moonborn. The woman nodded. Yes. Cassian's face darkened. For centuries, stories claimed he died. Ronan laughed bitterly. He didn't. The silence that followed felt endless. Alara looked from face to face. Everyone believed it. Every single one. Which meant the threat was real. Her mother was real. And after 18 years, there was finally a chance to save her. 3 days later, they reached the northern mountains. The journey had been brutal. Snow covered the ground. Freezing winds howled through narrow passes. Yet nobody turned back. Not Cassian, not Ronan, not Alara, because they all wanted the same thing. Lyra. At sunset, they finally saw it. A fortress carved directly into the mountainside. Ancient, massive, terrifying. Moonlight reflected from silver towers. The sight stole Alara's breath. She's in there. The old woman nodded. Yes. Cassian stepped forward. His eyes never left the fortress. After 18 years of searching, he was finally here. Ronan moved beside him. For a moment, neither man spoke. Years of hatred stood between them. Years of blame. Years of grief. Then Ronan extended his hand. Cassian looked surprised. The White Fang leader exhaled slowly. We finish this first. The king stared at the offered hand, then took it. The moment felt small, yet important. A beginning, not an ending. The battle started before midnight. The fortress guards were waiting. Hundreds of wolves, more than anyone expected. The mountains echoed with growls, steel clashed, warriors charged, snow turned red, chaos erupted. Alara remained protected in the center. At least that had been the plan. Because the moment fighting began, something happened. A strange warmth filled her chest. The same warmth she felt around Prince Rowan. The same warmth from the cottage. The same warmth from the silver glow. It spread through her entire body, brighter, stronger, until moonlight seemed to surround her. Several wolves stopped fighting, staring. The glow intensified, and suddenly, a wounded warrior cried out. His injured shoulder began healing, right before everyone's eyes. Gasps echoed across the battlefield. Another warrior, another wound, healing, again, and again. Alara stared in shock. She wasn't doing anything. At least she didn't think she was. Yet the moonlight continued spreading, touching everyone nearby. Healing, protecting, strengthening. The moonborn gift. It was real. The legends were true. Then a voice thundered across the battlefield. At last! Everything stopped. A man emerged from the fortress. Tall, ancient, terrifying. Silver eyes glowed beneath the moon. The Moon King. The real Moon King. After centuries, he was alive. The sight alone made wolves tremble. His gaze settled on Alara, and he smiled. You look like your mother. Hatred surged through her. Pure hatred. Where is she? The Moon King's smile widened. Safe. The answer enraged her. Safe? The man seemed amused. I protected her. Cassian's growl shook the mountains. You imprisoned her. The Moon King shrugged. A matter of perspective. Rage filled every face. Every warrior. Every survivor. Even Ronan. The ancient ruler looked disappointed. You still don't understand. His eyes settled on Alara. You were never meant to live among ordinary wolves. The words disgusted her. You destroyed families. Silence. You stole lives. More silence. You stole my mother. The Moon King's expression hardened. For the first time. Good. Let him feel something. Anything. Then Alara stepped forward. Alone. Without fear. Without hesitation. I am not yours. The mountains became silent. Moonlight intensified around her. The glow spread across the battlefield. Brighter, brighter, brighter. The Moon King's eyes widened. Shock. Real shock. Apparently he hadn't expected this. Neither had she. The power wasn't obeying him. It was obeying her. The realization changed everything. The ancient ruler understood it too. His expression darkened. Immediately. Then he attacked. The battle erupted again. Faster. More violent. The Moon King moved like lightning. Too fast. Too strong. Even Cassian struggled. Even Ronan. The ancient ruler knocked warriors aside effortlessly. He reached Alara within seconds. Then, Cassian stepped between them. The Alpha King took the blow. The impact threw him across the snow. Father! The word escaped before Alara could stop it. Cassian looked up. Blood stained the snow. Yet he smiled. A small smile. The kind fathers give daughters. Pride. Love. Relief. The sight shattered something inside her. For 18 years she had been alone. Now she understood. He hadn't abandoned her. He had failed. Yes. But he had spent 18 years trying to fix that failure. Searching. Protecting. Waiting. The difference mattered. A lot. The Moon King attacked again. This time Alara didn't run. The silver glow exploded outward. A wave of moonlight crossed the battlefield. The ancient ruler stopped moving. Frozen. Not by chains. Not by force. By the moonlight itself. His eyes widened. Impossible. Then the voice came. Soft. Gentle. Familiar. Alara. She froze. The voice came from the fortress. A woman stepped through the gates. Silver hair. Gray eyes. The same face as the portrait. The same face as Alara. Just older. Tears immediately filled Alara's eyes. Her mother. Lyra. Alive. After 18 years. Alive. The battlefield disappeared. Nothing else mattered. They ran toward each other, mother and daughter. 18 years of separation vanished in seconds. Lyra wrapped her arms around her, holding her tightly, as if afraid to let go, as if making up for every lost day, every lost birthday, every lost year. I'm sorry. The words broke from Lyra instantly, over and over. I'm sorry. Alara cried too. Not from sadness. Not anymore. Relief. Pure relief. Finally. 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 Hours later, the battle ended. The Moon King was defeated. Not killed. Imprisoned. The way he had imprisoned others. A fitting ending. The fortress fell. The captives were freed. And for the first time in decades, the North was safe. 6 months later, the kingdom looked different. Happier. Stronger. The Moonborn survivors had returned. The White Fang had abandoned its war. Ronan and Cassian were slowly rebuilding trust. Not friends. Not yet. But trying. That mattered. Prince Rowan sprinted across the palace gardens, laughing, chasing butterflies. Exactly as children should. The moment he spotted Ilara, he ran straight toward her. I knew you'd come back. Ilara laughed. You never doubted it. Nope. The boy proudly showed her something. The lucky wooden wolf. The same one. She had returned it weeks ago. Apparently he carried it everywhere. Prince Rowan suddenly lowered his voice. He's looking for you. Alara smiled. Who? The boy pointed. Across the garden. Cassian stood beneath a flowering tree. Waiting. No crown, no armor, no throne, just Cassian. The man. Not the king. The father. The friend. The man who had slowly earned her trust. One day at a time. The same way she had slowly earned his. Their eyes met. Neither looked away. No rushing. No grand declarations. No instant love. Just something real. Something built through pain. Through honesty. Through forgiveness. And finally, through hope. Cassian extended his hand. Ilara walked toward him. The future remained uncertain. Challenges still waited. Life would never be perfect. But for the first time in her life, she wasn't alone. And as the sun set over the kingdom, surrounded by family, friendship, and the people who truly saw her worth, Ilara finally understood the truth. The pack had called her worthless. But they had been wrong all along. Because sometimes, the person everyone overlooks turns out to be the one worth protecting most. The end.